Hello there, I am HTRMMA.com and HitTheRopes.com writer Chris Massari, here to give you my predictions for Strikeforce Fedor vs. Werdum. This is HTRMMA.com's first video prediction, and we're giving you a week in advance to see the predictions and comment, give us your thoughts, etc. etc. Alright, for the first matchup, we have Josh Thompson versus Pat Healy. Alright, both of these guys, they're tough guys. They last long. Both of the last 5 fights, the same record. 4 wins, 1 loss. Most of them are decisions. Both of these guys, most of their wins come by decision, and most of their losses come from decisions on both sides. Josh Thompson, former Strikeforce lightweight champ, and we got Pat Healy coming up. He's experienced fighter. He's got a lot more fights than Josh Thompson, like way more. But his record-wise is not as good. Josh Thompson only has a couple losses compared to Pat Healy. It's a big difference. But I see this matchup going in Josh Thompson's his way. He's going to win the fight by decision. I see this fight being a ground war, being on the ground most of the time, being Josh Thompson likes his takedowns, so on. It's not going to be a stand-up war at all. Mostly on the ground, ground and pound, submission attempts, etc. etc. Just going to go decision. Whoever gets the most takedowns and puts the most pressure on the ground is going to win this fight. Alright, next up we have the rematch of Cung Le versus Scott Smith. The last fight, Scott Smith KO'd Cung Le in the 3rd round. Now, that fight, it was kind of lopsided. Cung Le was dominating point-wise, kicking him, punching him, just dominating him. He got caught, though. Scott Smith, props to him. He capitalized, hit Cung, won the match, even though he was behind the whole entire fight. So, now we get a rematch. Can Scott Smith do it again? Honestly, I think it's doubtful. I think he's going to go the same way as the first fight. Cung Le's going to dominate. He's going to kick him. He's going to just destroy him. But I think the reason Cung has this is he doesn't have the ring rust. He doesn't have the distractions from all the movies and all the other nonsense going on. He's coming back. He's focused. You watch the interviews with him. He's ready to go. This is going to be a much better fight. He's going to go the same way. The thing with Scott Smith is he's never been KO'd. He's been TKO'd twice, but he's never been KO'd. And honestly, I don't see Cung KOing him. Most of Scott's losses come from submissions. Cung Le is not a submission guy at all. He's a stand-up guy. So, if anything, I see Cung winning by decision or getting a TKO on Scott Smith. Scott Smith won't quit, but he may get beat so hard that he's cut. The doctor just stop it, whatever. If I see this going in Cung's favor by TKO or decision. If it's TKO, I say the 2nd round, because by decision, obviously, it's going to go all 3 rounds. But either way, I see it going in Cung's direction. Next up, we got a big fight. Not so much because it's going to be a brawl or anything like that. Just going to get to see Cris Cyborg fight. She destroys people. She's the best, by far, no questions asked, #1 female fighter in the world. She's fighting Jane Finley. Cris Cyborg is 9-1. Jane Finley is 8-7. Cris Cyborg, 7 of her fights win by TKO. The other 2 by KO. Her only loss is from submission. Jane Finley, she's a banger. Cris Cyborg is a banger. Cris Cyborg, when she bangs, she knocks your head into the 5th row of the stand. She's not someone you want to mess with. So, basically, I see what happened is Jane tries to bang, and it doesn't work out for her real well. And I see Cris Cyborg getting a knockout, not a TKO, just because that's not someone you want to stand up punches with. She just destroys people. Look at her last fight. Cris Cyborg, no doubt. KO, we'll say end of 1st round, beginning of the 2nd. That's the way I see it going. I don't see Jane coming out of this in any way. It's Cris Cyborg. She's not going to lose. Finally, we have the biggest fight of the night. Fedor versus Werdum. to start off, I'm going to give you who I think is going to win right now. Fedor. Why is Fedor going to win? Besides the fact that he's Fedor, he's #1 heavyweight in the world. He's #1 pound per pound fighter in the world. Werdum isn't going to beat him in submission. He's not going to beat him in a stand-up. He's not going to beat him in a clinch. He's not going to be able to defend his throws. In any way you look at it, Fedor is better. Ring experience, he has way more fights. And just as an overall fighter, he's a lot better. Werdum, he's a submission. He's a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. So I expect him trying to get Fedor on the ground and trying to dominate him. But what people forget is Fedor is great at submissions. 51% of his wins comes from submission. Only 25% is TKO or KO. Only 8 of his fights have ended from his punches. 16 have come by a submission of some kind. In his last 8 fights, 6 submissions, 1 KO, and 1 TKO. In Werdum's last fights, 3 losses, 1 to Orlovsky, who we all know what Fedor did to him, 1 to Dos Santos, and 1 to Big Nog. Now, we know what Fedor did to Big Nog twice. Werdum's wins have been Bigfoot, Gonzaga, Fedor's little brother, Alex Emelianenko, and Brandon Vera. So those are big guys to beat. No, I'm not questioning that. Werdum's a good fighter. He's just not going to be able to beat Fedor. Fedor's only loss, first of all, is by cut, and we all know whatever. He's only got 1 loss. 31 wins. Come on now, that's ridiculous compared to Werdum 13-4-1. It's just lopsided. Fedor's the best. If Werdum tries to stand up with him, he's going to get his head cracked with an overhand right. If he tries to take him down, Fedor will armbar him. Fedor's a master of armbars. I don't know how he does it, but he always finishes by armbar. Most of the time, obviously not always. But you understand what I'm saying? Fedor's Sambo, Judo, I don't know. Fedor's the best. Fedor is by far going to win this, hands down. Most likely, he'll win this. He'll have the Strikeforce title against Overeem sometime at the end of the year, and that'll be Fedor's last fight. So this will be a good fight because most likely he looks like he's going to retire. So this will be one you want to see because most likely be one of his last fights. So HTRMMA's Chris Massari giving me my Strikeforce predictions. I'll be back in a week for UFC 116 and the predictions then. Have a wonderful night, people.